It's just like instantly got quiet. Ready for class?
6:02, we're ready.
Okay. We will get started. I'm expecting a few more to show up, but we'll let them trickle in as we go. My name is Troy Price. I serve as the Executive Director for the Snow Basin Sports Education Foundation. This is my second year, and I'm honored to serve in that capacity as well as be back home. Snow Basin was a place where I learned how to ski when I was 2. Dad was part of ski patrol, Mom was part of ski school. Raced all the way through college, attending Weaver State. Spent the first 13 years of my coaching career at Snow Basin, and then went down south into Salt Lake for Romer Ski Academy for another 13. And as I mentioned, back here for the second year. So
welcome home.
It's nice to be home. I'm really proud with what we were able to accomplish in that first year. Really a big shift in team culture, in particular with our South Series group that's here tonight. There was the how do I say this? Like the conduct of our athletes wasn't serving as a champion and supportive of one another, and we quickly changed that through the leadership of Allison, Scotty, and Maddie, and Gabe, our South Series coaches. They created that culture to where they were supporting teammates, they were aspirational about their goals, they were inspired to do better, bigger things, and represent Snow Basin and our club. So I was really happy with that shift within that group and the progress that they've made through the year, as well as the effort that they're putting into our dryland already this fall. So excited about that. Excited about that little transition that we had in our athlete development from what was known as the YSL team is now known as the All Mountain Rippers. So we'll get into a little bit of what All Mountain Rippers is and the vision behind it, so that we can pull athletes from our Devo program into that All Mountain Rippers a little earlier, to make sure that they're set up for success long term. Whether they go freeride or alpine, that's up to the individual athlete and their family's choice. That's a program. We want to make sure that we create those avenues. Okay? The main goal tonight is to provide you with the information and clarity for what's going to happen throughout the season, both within our South Series and our All Mountain Ripper group. So we'll be bouncing back and forth. We'll try to give you as much clarity as to which group we're talking about, because there are some differentials between the two, but there's a ton of overlap, and I find that it's very beneficial, especially for the All Mountain Ripper families, to get a little preview as to what South Series is and what that extra commitment is going to be like moving forward. As well as Craig will talk to a little bit about our U14 program and U16 program, so that those of you that are part of the South Series team can get that little preview as to what's later down the athlete pipeline within our program. Okay, tonight you're also going to hear, I mentioned Craig. You're going to hear from Coach Allison, representing our South Series group tonight. Coach Maddie's back east. She's got a little video in our slideshow that we'll share. And then you'll hear from Jay Sawyer, our head coach for the All Mountain Ripper program. And Tracy, our team manager. Okay? So diving right into it. You're not seeing what I'm seeing. Give me a second.
So I want to make sure that everybody that came in got the different handouts. There's one that says IMD calendar, okay? And then the South Series should have a packet that looks like with them. So they got what they need. Okay, super. And then we have a couple of yearbooks I'll pass around if you haven't seen them yet. They're kind of fun, so those in the audience can take a peek at those. And everybody that's here tonight, did you guys find it easy to RSVP and team staff for the event? Is there anyone that's here that didn't do that? Because I can show you like one-on-one. Maybe. So if you open up your team and you click on the schedule and you find tonight's event and you click on that, then usually, let me see. I have an iPhone, so it might look a little bit different on the Android, but in general, So this is what it looks like when you click on the schedule, right? You get a laundry list of what the activities are. If you click on tonight's event, you'll get something that looks similar to this. And there is a place that's called availability. And you click on that, and then you find your athlete's name, and you can put going, you can put maybe, or you can put not going. And as we progress through these other events, we kind of have the expectation that parents will always let us know whether or not you're coming or not. So, like the ski team swap will be coming up here soon. Troy will be talking about that. We're going to have a team-only night, and it'd be really helpful if we knew whether or not you're planning on coming to that team-only night, right? Okay.
Great, thanks Tracy.
Y'all.
Covering in the gaps as always, I appreciate your help. Hey, starting off with our mission statement for the Snow Basin Sports Education Foundation. We are here to create an environment and pathway for the local youth to be able to reach their individual potential as athletes, students, and contributing members in the greater community through winter sports participation. What that means is we get the excuse to ski and teach life skills to kids. Okay? Come on. Tracy, you're back up.
I don't even know what the slides are that he has later on, so we're just gonna wing it a little bit. Has anyone tried ice skating, the events on Sunday? Yeah? What do you think about that? Is it a little hard? Yeah, it's a little hard. What skills do you think you're developing ice skating that will apply to skiing? Yep. Okay, overall strength, in particular your ankles and your feet. What else? Yep. Absolutely. Balancing on skates, balancing on slippery snow. Good answer. Stopping. Stopping is always a good skill to be able to employ. All right, how many of you have been able to try out the dry land on, whether you stayed after for skating or on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Yep, yep, yep. What do you think you're getting out of dry land? Yes, ma'am.
Getting better for ski season and like getting used to being tired.
Okay, so I would say another way to rephrase that is maybe conditioning. Right? Like you're conditioning your heart, your lungs, your muscles to be able to have resilience while you're skiing. Very true, very true. Parents, do you have any questions about equipment at this particular point in time? Or do you feel like you know enough? Maybe, kind of, sort of, yeah?
Does she, at this, so she's in the All Mountain Rippers program.
Yep.
GS skis, are they required?
Jay?
No.
Would you prefer?
Actually, the preferred ski in my mind would be the crossover ski. I'm not sure which one that is in the atomic. If not, a longer slalom ski, so not slalom length, but a longer, not GS length. So slalom length is nose to chin. GS is eyebrow just at the top of the head. So you're somewhere in that eyebrow to nose sort of range, okay, on a slalom ski. For one pair of skis for all events. And then the second one would be, if it's in the budget, not necessary, but preferred, is a play ski, recreational, going to go out and play on.
All mountain.
Yep, an all-mountain ski, sometimes just because that preserves the integrity of the race ski, so you're not taking it in and tuned all the time.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
In a former life, I was a racer.
Okay, so yeah, so you know, yeah, the work, the effort, if you're going out putting forward, you'll almost soon pay for that recreational, that all-mountain ski very quickly, so frustration and time, if nothing else, so.
So let's speak just a little bit about ski tuning. because some of you may come from a background that ski tuning is, you know, what you eat and breathe, and you may have a separate room for ski tuning, like my neighbor does. For me, I had no idea how to ski tune anything, right? Not even adjust my bindings. So on the team entry, early entry night for our swap, which is the 24th, a Thursday, we're gonna have a segment in that. Yes, Jay?
One other thing, speaking of the team swap, one thing I would recommend, highly recommend and encourage are the 2 sets of poles. Slalom poles straight, which have the guards on them. You put the guards on, you don't have to fuss with them, you leave them on. And then get a pair of GS poles, the bendy poles, that we free-ski and do everything else with. So
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Especially at the swap where kids are outgrowing them every year, you can pick them up very economically.
So some people have been posting things that are available in the members group on Team Snap. So everyone should be on 2 teams in Team Snap. You're going to have your team-specific team that's going to be the South Series or the All Mountain Rippers, and you should also see the 24-25 members, and that's everybody in the club, right? So when I have something that everybody in the club is invited to, you will most likely see that in the team schedule. Meaning that if you have multiple kids in the program, you're not going to get the reminder for that or see that downloaded into your Team Snap calendar multiple times. You're just going to get it once, right? So the way that you toggle between your different teams in Team Snap, again, on an iPhone, you've got the name of the team at the top. If you click on that, it'll give you a drop down that shows you all of the teams that you're rostered to. And you can just click and go back and forth on each one of those. So, are you good? Okay, go.
Good. Team Snap is definitely our communication source, so the more familiar you are with it, the better you'll be. Okay, we're going to keep it in this view so that it doesn't bog down on us, but team values. We start with relationships. That's about creating those connections across the board, whether it's with your teammates, parents, or coaches. Thanks. Use that if we need to. Appreciate it. Then we go into commitment. Obviously, committing to the sport and looking for self-improvement. Integrity, doing the right things for the right reasons. Performance, we're a competition program, so we're looking for that performance marker. Team pride, we love the fact that we got a new team logo and representing not only our team, but the mountain. And then growth mindset, making sure that we're nurturing excellence and perseverance along the way. Last year's highlights include the fact that we swept the podium at the YSL races, with our girls in particular, but also some of the boys at the UOP YSL race. We were the top team at that race at the UOP, earning the most medals of any club that was there. And then Anna Jane won the overall at the Ray Miller Memorial for the YSL Finals at Snow Basin on her home hill. That was a cool achievement. And then also want to recognize for our South Series group that they tied our 10-year record for the number of athletes qualifying for the divisional championships, which is the top 50 athletes out of the state of Utah to go and race with Idaho and Wyoming. So the fact, and that was the number of 12. I've got a little spreadsheet for you next. And then in our rankings, also Drayden Pyle podiumed at Intermountain Championships amongst the best kids in our division. And he was a first-year U12, so he's still got 1 year to go. Holding our rankings for our U12 group out of the South Series, Ariana is the second-ranked athlete born in 2013 for the females. William Andresco is second, 2013 for the male. Drayden is third, 2013 for the males. And then Jack Donahue is third for the 2014 males. So 4 athletes, all in the top 3 for their given year of birth. Here's a quick little graph as to athletes qualifying for championships over the last 10 years. You can see the prior record was set back in 2018 with 12 athletes attending, and then again last year with 12 athletes attending. Why Snow Basin? It's because our coaches care for whole athlete development. We maintain that low coach to athlete ratio. We have a fantastic resort at Snow Basin and great partnerships with places like Powder Mountain and the Utah Olympic Park. And then the community around us. We've really made a conscious effort over the last year to get engaged within the community. We're partnered up with the Gold Foundation, which is Get Out and Live. We're partnered up with the Ogden Adaptive Program, as well as the Community Foundation of Ogden Valley. Those three have all been onboarded in the last year and really making sure that we're reaching out into our community and having that community impact. Craig and I have talked a lot, as he serves as the Alpine Program Director, about our long-term athletic plan, how athletes progress from our Devo program into All Mountain Rippers and beyond into the U16 and into college years. And then that positive learning environment throughout, making sure that athletes are passionate about their skiing and enjoying their time on the hill with their coaches. So speaking of coaches, with our South Series coaching staff, Maddie Williams will be returning as the head coach for that group, assisted by Allie. And then Bailey Parks is again returning. And then the new name you see there is Everett Paulman. Everett is an alumni of the program, coached within our Devo program last year, really fell in love with coaching and wants to coach at a higher level and utilize his skills as an athlete to pass back down to the next generation. So we're excited to have Everett join us at the South Series, and then we'll be hiring one more position within South Series. We're missing Gabe. We all know that he committed to the Army and he's going to serve his time, but he'll be back. We look forward. I've been staying in touch with Gabe every couple weeks. Great guy. All Mountain Ripper staff, you're seeing the returning of Jay, Howley, and Francis, with Jay being the head coach. And then with growth of that program, we brought on Richard Bloom. Raise your hand if your kids skied with Richard Bloom in the past. Right? Rockstar. Okay? It's a new name for a lot of people in our program. But Richard is absolutely amazing. Loves to teach, loves to ski, and I think he's going to be a perfect addition to the All Mountain Ripper and the vision that we have behind that program. And then behind all of them is our support staff with Craig as the Alpine Program Director, myself, Tracy, and then Scotty Hoffman shifting a role into a legendary coach to where he's going to have the opportunity to move around different groups. And so Scotty, if you'll say a few words, just come up and introduce yourself. And who are you?
Oh, wow. Too late to be nervous. My name is Scott Hoffman, and I, like Troy, started skiing in Snow Basin at 2.5 years old. I've been involved in the Snow Basin program, and I was basically born and raised at Snow Basin. Also in the program here, my father was a ski instructor and also a ski coach in the Snow Basin ski team. But I just absolutely love this program. I'm super excited. 15 years or 16 years? When did I start in the U10, U12?
We've been, this is 16 years for us.
15 years. Started with the U10, U12 16 years ago. And I have to tell you, I'm super excited to maybe jump over categories a little bit, do some free ride stuff, and go rip it up with some of the other kids. But I'm just still absolutely love events like this in the ski team. I don't even want to say how old I am, but I've been at this a long time, but the energy and the excitement comes from you guys. Watching people walk through that door, that's what we're here for. So welcome, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Scotty's being a little humble, so I'll give a few of his accolades. But NCAA national champion for University of Utah and U.S. ski team member. So we're excited to have Scotty share his passion with different groups throughout the program and giving him the liberty to move around in the program this year. So he'll still be around. I know a lot of the South Series kids are going to miss Scotty on a full-time basis, but we're going to make sure that he has that impact throughout our entire program. And now we're going to hear a little video from Coach Maddie. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's just your volume. Maybe.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
everyone. My name is Maddie Williams. I am the head South Series coach for the Snow Basin ski team. I am so sorry I cannot be with you guys tonight. I really wish I was, but I am currently out in Vermont visiting my mom. But I wanted to hop on here and welcome all new and returning athletes to our South Series program. We are so excited to have you and see you again. A little background about myself is I grew up on the snowboard ski team, racing their Devo program through second year FIS, and now this will be my 4th year coaching the Snow Basin ski team. A little bit about our South Series program is that our coaching staff really looks at a holistic point of view, developing athletes. We really want them to have the love of skiing first and foremost. It's a super fun sport, and it's something that you can take with you all your life. We also, from an athlete and racing standpoint, we want them to have sound fundamentals as they go through the programs here at Snow Basin. And then we just want them to be great little humans, teaching them accountability, being on time, being disciplined. All of that stuff comes with learning ski racing. And so that's what we really look at as a holistic point of view. Coach Allison has a handout for you guys. This information sheet just basically goes through, obviously, my contact information, the communication for the year, which is, obviously done through Team Snap. That's where emails will be sent and text messages and all of that stuff. We do have quite a fun lineup for races this year, as I'm sure you guys will go through in this presentation. We have one at Snowbird, we have one at Olympic Park, we have one at Sundance, IMG Champs. We are so lucky that we get to host them this year at Snow Basin. Those are top 50 you must qualify for top 50 for each gender. And then for anyone who does not make IMG Champs, we will be going to Sundance again. There are a couple important dates within the team, such as holiday camps or any preseason camps or summer camps. These are just our South Series expectations for each of the athletes. That we just expect them to, we want ski racing to be super, super fun and skiing to be super fun, but we do need to make sure that there are rules that are being followed and that it's safe and enjoyable for everyone. And then, of course, there is the equipment lined out for everyone on the last page. And then attached there is another 2 papers. One is our code of conduct, which lines out our team values and everything. We just ask that you sign it and give it back to us on the first day of training. And of course, there is a goal sheet for you guys that follows the SMART goals. And we just want you guys to go through it with your athlete and just make some goals for this season. And we will go through it with them at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year to just check in and see how their goals are going and if anything has changed or they want to add something. And there is, on the last page, a checklist for the athletes. So if they're packing their equipment, they can remember everything that they need for the day. Again, I am so sorry I'm not there. I can't wait to meet all of you guys in person when that time comes. And I hope to see all of you soon, and let's pray for some snow now. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Maddie.
Okay, now I'm going to get into our rosters a little bit, but I want to start with recognizing our graduates from our South Series program that have moved up our athletic pipeline into the U14s, and that's Clara, Harper, Hugo, Steven, and Alana. For our South Series roster, we're currently at 26 athletes. Those that are listed there on the left-hand side are all the returning athletes. And then on the right-hand side are all the athletes that are moving into South Series, most coming from last year's YSL program. The AMR roster, similar, those on the left are returning for a second year. And then those on the right are new to the group, most of which have graduated from our Devo program. That's a little picture of an athlete jumping off of the jump at the Utah Olympic Park. The combi, YSL combi.
It was definitely a favorite.
Yeah, that was cool, huh?
That was Arden's favorite.
Okay. So I'm going to turn the time over to Craig to go over a few slides here regarding our athletic development.
Yay.
Thank you, Troy. My name is Craig Hoster. I serve as the Alpine Director at Snow Basin. I'm excited to be here and share this experience with you. In this slide, I want to make sure that everybody's clear that you're in a sequence of training for our program, which could be the second of 8 years, depending on where you're at and the number of years in the program. But the goal is to put the pieces in place that you can graduate to the next step with the skills that are going to create the opportunity for your athlete to be successful. So one of the things that parents, I think, need to hear is e-racing doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey. And having the patience to be able to do all the steps is a part of that process. We started 3 weeks ago at St. Joseph's with our U14 and up with a weight training program. So now we're putting the athletes in a place where they can get stronger, more flexible, still working on endurance. But it's one more of those little pieces of the puzzle that's important to improve as an athlete long term. So in the developmental phase, the athletes right now are just coming out of the foundation stage, which is the kind of blue-purple, and they'll be graduating into the yellow phase. And this area is dictated by how many days of training and where the phases they're racing. So the AMR and the South Series will be in the phase 3, and that's biological age, pre-puberty, and girls will be 10 to 13, boys will be 11 to 14. Each one of these ages is set for setting the athlete up for success, with this age skiing approximately 70 days per year. So that's a lot of skiing, which is a chance to improve and work with lots of different parts of the mountain. So for the South Series, they're going to be skiing about 30% of the time. Gait training is going to be about 30% of the time, and directed all-mountain skiing is 40% of the time. I believe it's super important to be an all-mountain skier to develop those skills outside the race course that then you can take in. It's all about fundamentals and being able to create that opportunity to do so. For the all-mountain rippers, they'll have a little bit higher rate for the directed all-mountain skiing. It'll be about half the time, which is great, again, to develop the foundation, and you can get up there in the cirque and you can get out and powder ski, rip it up, and have a lot of fun, but also develop fundamentals. Edging, pressure, rotary are all easier to learn outside the race course. So the ideal race training ratio will be 1 day of racing for 6 days of training on average throughout the season. So team culture is a big thing. Tonight on Club Excellence, they had a Zoom meeting. I caught part of it, but the coach who worked with Jessie Diggins over the course of her career, came out of Burke Mountain Academy. He started the program when he came to the US ski team about team culture. And I am a firm believer in the teams that I've been on in my life that were the best were the ones that played together and took care of each other as a team, and the whole team moved further ahead. So keep that in mind as we work as parents, athletes, and coaches. The goal is to see your athletes succeed, but the goal is to move the whole group to the highest level that we can possibly do, and we do it better by sharing. So it seems like a great way to go. So the kindness is important, being able to persevere, commitment matters even when it gets tough, but you want to be able to hold your teammates accountable, and your coaches are doing the job to be able to give the information. But again, let's make sure that we circle around the vision to all get better together. So for periodization right now, for our older athletes, we're in a place where we're developing the off-season conditioning. U12 and U10 athletes are now playing multi-sports, so you're getting your soccer, your lacrosse, your cross-country. I hear a lot of parents say that they're overbooked right now as seasons are overlapping. It's a little bit tricky. I know managing it all. Eventually we'll phase into the ski season, and you can kind of dial into just that one sport to get things set up. The goal would be, as we prep, we'll have for the South Series, they'll be able to be part of the fall camp in Sun Valley, and we'll be training up there in November. Early season directed drills, and the goal is to set everything to the competition phase. So we want to be ready to peak as we're getting into our race season, with the goal of everybody athlete-wise is skiing their best when we get to the final championship races. So the goal is to come in, build the base, come up, we get to the top of the pyramid, and that's when we finally ski at our very best and remain healthy that whole time. So IMD race series, this is where Troy's going to pick it back up.
Cool. Thanks, Kurt. There's one thing I want to come back to that Craig was talking about, and it's part of this team culture, and it's to be a champion. To me, champion can be a noun or a verb. Obviously, if you're a champion, you're standing on top of the podium, you've got that medal, you're proud, you're fist pumping, fighting your medal, all that Olympic spirit type stuff. But to me, being a champion is being a mentor, leading by example, you know, representing our club, the mountain, your sponsors, your family. It's to be a champion and be that example. So we talk a lot about that, of mentoring younger athletes and being that positive example throughout. Now with the race series, Maddie mentioned it in her little video with Snowbird, UOP, and Sundance for our South Series. I want to be clear in the fact that the first two races are split gender, with the boys going first at Snowbird, and then the girls going first for the UOP slaloms. And then Sundance will be split by the event, to where both genders will race slalom on Saturday, the 22nd of February, followed by a GS on that Sunday, February 23rd. So our entire program will be down at Sundance together, which I think is great for team culture. And then to have the earlier races split to where they can get 4 races in on a day seems to work really well. Then for our All Mountain Ripper program, they're going to be focused on the YSL series. And there's the 3 main races there, of Brighton, UOP, and then the YSL finals there at Snow Basin. Those are team assignments. So if you're looking at the IMD schedule on the IMD website, you may see multiple days, but we're assigned a given day. So for our program, we're assigned to go to Brighton on January 23rd, which is a Thursday. And keep note of that it's midweek. So time off of work, time off of school to make that happen. And then for the UOP, we're on the second day of that series, scheduled for Sunday the 16th. And then for the championship, once again, both genders, all teams are invited to both days, and we're hosting that. So it's a field of like 300 athletes. And that'll be on Wildcat Bowl once again, and named after the Ray Miller Memorial. And then for our end of the season event, which takes us out of any qualifiers or championships, it's an IMD finals. It's a great way to end the season. And it's really important for those AMR athletes that are looking to step up for South Series next year to get a feel for what that next level could be like. And I find that it's really important in the month of March to race and compete as much as possible. And so we look for those opportunities in the month of March to stimulate their growth. Okay. And then the big one is we put in a bid with all the clubs last May. And Craig and I went to our conference, and all the programs voted, and Snow Basin came out on top. So we're excited with the quality of races that we hosted last year, both with the South Series and the YSL races last year. To get awarded this championship event is a big deal, and we're going to really kick it off with an Olympic theme, knowing that the Olympics are coming in 34. And we're going to be throwing a party downtown Ogden on the evening of the 15th. But it'll be the same race structure as those that went up to Tamarack last year, where there's a slalom, a GS, and then a dual paneled slalom, and so forth. Looks like we're having ribs for dinner.
She's taking care of you.
No, it said get some.
Cool. For the championship event, you gotta be clear as to how athletes get that nod, get the invitation. It is a competitive environment. The athletes are ranked amongst all the 10s and 12s. They're earning points per run. So even in that race day, there's 4 runs through the race day on those first 2, or it's just one gender. Any of those runs, they could have a great race, a bad race, medium race. Like every race is a fresh start. A lot of times, ski racing is about putting 2 runs combined, and the total time is how you win. That's definitely how they win the Olympics and so forth. But for this age group, they want to have a fresh start so that an athlete can refocus on what's to happen instead of carrying any anxiety or pressure from the previous race, right? It's a great way to run it. We've had a lot of experience. It definitely picks up the best athletes and gives them multiple opportunities. They only take 50% of the races. So throughout the year, they'll have a total of 12 runs, and they only count their best 6 out of the 12. Or if some of them gets canceled, it's only 50% of the races that are held through the year. Okay? And so in doing so, there's a lot of throwaways, and we really encourage athletes to push their limits, to attack, be aggressive, be intentional, and see what happens, because they'll end up jumping up a few spots. And then when it comes to age classes, we got to be clear that there are a couple U14s in our South Series group. They're ineligible to attend the IMD championships, so they would attend the YSL or the IMD finals at Sundance would be kind of their pinnacle for the year. And then U8s, there's some U8s in our AMR program. They cannot race up into that South Series group. It's limited to U10s and older. So we'll manage that as a staff. We'll be very clear with the families that fall into those buckets, but just to be sure. And then the quota is, as I mentioned, the top 50 athletes. There'll be about 100 to 110 athletes competing for those 50 spots. And we'll share the rankings after their second qualifier, and then obviously after their third and final qualifier, working with families as to who's in and not. It does pull in alternates. So if your athlete is ranked 51st, 52nd, then you're just kind of on the bubble, seeing if somebody's on vacation and pulling out, then you get in. So we'll communicate with the families at that point to make sure that everybody's informed and excited and ready for the next steps. And then, as I mentioned, with the U14s, also those U8s can compete in the IMD finals at Sundance at the end of the year. So we're really trying to give every athlete an opportunity, whether they qualify for the IMD champs or not. They're set up for success. What tends to happen with that IMD finals event, and Jay's gone several times over the years, but you take that top 50 out of the picture, and all of a sudden that kid that's usually 51st to 60th, like, they win. And they get this boost of self-confidence. They're ready to work hard in the summer. They're going to the fall camps. They're ready for the sport because it stimulated their growth. So we definitely work with families and athletes as they make that leap from one year to the next. For our fall camps, new this year, we're going to be inviting our South Series group to our Loveland, Colorado camp. And then also following that up with our camp in Sun Valley. Colorado's coming up pretty quick. You'll see information about that coming out tomorrow. But it's November 1st through the 4th. The 1st is going to be our travel day, driving over there on the sugar high from Halloween. And then we'll follow up with 3 days of skiing on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then traveling back, returning back late, probably about 10 p.m. on that evening of the 4th. So the kids can go to school tired, ready to learn. One thing we've done is we've partnered up with another Intermountain club to share that expense and share that experience. I find I do a lot of divisional projects where different clubs come together. And this is just going to be another one of those opportunities to build their network in the sport, so when they go to competitions, they've got another friend from another program, and it makes the experience more enjoyable. For Sun Valley, it's great. It's our sister resort, obviously. The dates in Sun Valley, they're not open to the general public. It's just before the opening. So they open on Thanksgiving Day, the 28th. So it's the 5 days leading up to their opening to the general public that they open just for race programs, and they prioritize programs in our division. There'll be some collegiate athletes up there as well, but there's great terrain available for us. We're on the river run side of the resort, so we come all the way down College, Upper College, Lower College, and down into River Run if you're familiar with that area. But it's like skiing from the top of the gondola at Snow Basin all the way back down to the base. It's 3,000 vertical feet. It's great snowmaking, quality snow, and they give us dedicated lane space throughout. What I've done in the past is partnered up with another program so they can ski our course and we can ski their course, and so our kids are getting twice the courses as other programs, and so creating those relationships and that opportunity really helps our athlete development. Questions about our camps?
So if we could just afford one of those, it sounded like with the Sun Valley camp, which I know doesn't always fire. So does the Loveland one always go? Is that 100% on?
So both of them are snow dependent.
Okay.
I would say that the Loveland has an 80% success rate,
Okay.
whereas Sun Valley has more of a 60% success
Okay.
rate.
So if you could just do one, and it sounded like your description of the Sun Valley of like rotating, would you advise Sun Valley would be more advantageous?
Yep,
or-
I would prioritize Sun Valley over Loveland
Okay.
if you're just looking at one.
The Loveland one, that's also available to free ride as well, yes? Or only
Just Alpine.
just Alpine? Okay.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought I was remembering that was an option.
Last year we invited it. This year with our free ride program, we're trying to do a few things locally like Woodward and
Okay.
some mountain biking days and such. The thing about what we came to the conclusion was that especially November 2nd through 4th, there's like 3 runs that are open.
Yeah.
And it's man-made, it's hard snow, to where our free ride program is like, not that great. We want more snow. Alright? Okay. Moving on, I wanted to just kind of get a little group discussion going. But I've been working in the off season to create some optional training at the Utah Olympic Park. We've got an option to go down there on Tuesdays. The lane space is between 4 to 6:15. And so what that would mean is we would look at a departure, most likely from Mount Green, maybe the parking right here in South Weaver. But it would be 2:30 and then a 7:30 return. And then the cost there you can see is a $53 lift ticket. Or if that's something that you know you're going to be going to each week, maybe a season pass is a better economical choice at $534. So just kind of a straw poll, raise your hand if you see your athlete skiing on Tuesdays at the Utah Olympic Park.
We would love to, but we Arden also dances, and that's her ballet day from 4 to 6, so it wouldn't be like a regular thing.
Can we hit the other options first before we vote?
Yeah.
Just so.
I'm just looking for a little straw poll. I know it's definitely, when I asked that question to our U14, 16 group, the vast majority raised their hand, and that's expected. It's a different commitment level, and we're seeing that as athletes grow up through the pipeline. But we wanted to make sure that the invitation was open to this group, and that we staffed accordingly to make sure that they get what they need while they're there. And then Wednesdays, we're looking at being back to Powder Mountain. We were there last year with some success. We had some great powder skiing there on a couple nights. But they're dedicating lane space to us, so when the conditions allow, we'll be gate training there. We did that about 50% of the time last year. It was all Mother Nature related. But we had some great back skiing off the road because we're there early enough to catch the shuttle and come back up. It's not night skiing, it's twilight skiing, if you will. So that's 2:30 to 5. We ask that you're there 15 minutes prior, and then we have a quick little team meeting as we wrap up at 5 o'clock. So departure there is at 5:15. And then we got an amazing agreement with lift tickets at just $20 for those sessions, and it's only those that, based on attendance. So as you're committing for that week's day, then we'll invoice and put that on your ticket for that cost. I know we actually have quite a few, more than I thought, season pass holders at Powder Mountain. So if you're already a season pass holder at Powder Mountain, you save yourself that $20, but it's not a requirement for us to be season pass holders there. And then Fridays will be at Snow Basin. We've got not only Willow, but also Showboat for training space. And then we're going to utilize a lot of those Fridays, especially with the All Mountain Ripper group, to experience some free ski time when the overall general public crowds are less, and we can get in some more laps and so forth. So a lot going on there on Fridays. That'll stay the same time frame of 1 to 4 o'clock on those Friday afternoons. Yep. Take a few questions.
Quick question. If we only signed up for the 2-day on AMR, but
Yep.
want to add Fridays in, can we just pay that difference? Because I did see that the Friday add-on was like $675, but to do that half-day Friday on the 3-day program was like a little less. Can we just pay that difference, or do we need to do the like $675 or whatever it was for the whole season?
Do you follow on that question?
Yes, so, the $675 was last year's pricing for half-day add-on. It's not for this year.
Yeah.
But if anybody wants to add a day, just email me.
I just mean like when initial registration came out, were you guys offered either 2, 3, or 4 for AMR?
Yep.
We signed them up for 2, but we would like to do.
If you would like to do a third day, just email me and
Okay.
I'll send you what the price is, and then I'll send you a specific invoice.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, sure thing.
Jose?
Yeah, is the Tuesdays and Wednesdays in lieu of skiing and snow racing for the kids that are doing midweek sessions, or is it, I don't know.
So they signed up for 3 days.
In lieu of, so our program at the South Series and AMR, even our 14s, basically all Alpine team, will be at these venues on these days. Our freeride program will stay consistently at Snow Basin in the afternoons.
That was kind of my question too, was, so we're signed up for Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
Yep.
So on the Wednesdays that everybody's at Powder Mountain, we'll be at Powder Mountain,
Yep.
not at Snow Basin.
Correct.
So,
And let me be clear that those happen from the 1st of January to mid-March.
Okay.
So those Wednesdays in December, as we get the season going, will be at Snow Basin. And then once we get into the new year, starting January 1st, we're basically looking at 10 sessions, 10 weeks, at either the UOP on Tuesdays or Powder Mountain on Wednesdays.
okay. So Nordic is probably not, I know we didn't do Nordic last
Yeah.
season, but the season before, midweek was at Nordic. So we're
Yeah.
either going to be Snow Basin or Powder Mountain or UOP.
Nordic Valley's not ready for us yet.
Yeah.
They're working really hard to get it together.
Yeah,
And
I knew they were working
they're
on
making
their
progress.
lift, but I didn't know that
Yeah.
it was.
There'll be no night skiing on Apollo this season.
Okay.
So that's the main lift that we've trained on in the past. So only the tiny lift on the looker's right will spin for the evening session.
Okay.
There's no day lodge.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Then Wednesdays that we're not at Powder Mountain are still going to be the normal 1 to 4 at
Correct.
Snow Basin?
Yeah. Thanks for asking that. That's great.
I got one more for you.
Yep.
Any talk of the friendly little rub shoulders with Beaver Mountain again this year?
Yes. It's on our schedule for January 4th. So just before the kids return back to
Up there or down at our place?
up there.
Okay.
We talked about back and forth, and then I came to the conclusion that they're all coming down because we're hosting 2 races. So they'll get their Snow Basin experience. But if we host it up there, we get the experience to go up there. And the feedback I got from our community was very positive. That they didn't mind, the drive wasn't the problem.
What's the date again, Troy?
Saturday, January 4th.
January 4th, got it, thank you.
Troy. So the Tuesday, Wednesday option, are we committing for the season?
No, week to week.
Okay.
I guess that's twofold. You've got to be signed up for the number of days that are appropriate for the time that you're skiing.
Right.
But this gives you more latitude. If you signed up for a 3-day programming and you missed your standard Wednesday and you want to pick up that following Tuesday so that you're getting that extra time on snow, totally fine with us. Right? If you signed up for a 2-day program and you want to ski Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday and Wednesday, obviously that doesn't work. But we want to make sure that you're getting the value out of our program, and Craig and I share this viewpoint is we're going to do everything we can to get kids on snow. So whatever opportunities that we can create and increase the development. The reason why we see the value in the Utah Olympic Park, we recognize it's an hour drive, that it's an added cost, but the lap time that they get and the quality of the surface and the ability for the coach to be hands-on, eyes-on as to that process, especially I see Jay nodding his head. When Jay goes through his teaching progression on clearing slalom gates, when they get 5 runs in on Willow throughout the day versus 20 runs in at the UOP, it creates a completely different progression. And they acquire that skill at a much faster pace. And so it's advantageous for us to have a few of those opportunities through the year. It doesn't need to be every day. I'm really happy with the fact that we've got a big, beautiful mountain to ski and we're not just skiing at the UOP every day. But we want to make sure we stimulate their development by putting those times and those opportunities in at the right time.
It's nice to get some exposure too before the race, so the kids feel confident on the hill.
Yeah, and that applies to both groups, right? Our AMR program will have the YSL race at the UOP, and South Series will have their slalom race at the UOP.
And we're hoping for some amount of transport available?
Yeah, we'll have team transportation available.
RC for that.
To the Utah Olympic Park.
Yeah.
You guys don't want to drive our kids up Powder Mountain Road? Come
I'm glad you caught that. Carpool, baby, carpool.
Yeah.
Okay, next few slides are just about some expectations. Starting off with the athletes, we expect them to be on time, prepared, and ready to learn. One thing that coaches talk to athletes about is like, do what you can do, play your part at home, so that mom and dad's not doing everything and the reason why you're 10 minutes late, right? Maybe it's you loading the car, maybe it's you taking out the trash so that mom's not doing everything. And so taking part of that ownership and recognizing and being grateful for the opportunity you have to ski. We expect our athletes to listen and follow directions from our coaches. We expect them to set personal goals. We'll talk about process versus outcome with them. And then exhibit teamwork and sportsmanship, and obviously to have a great time. And then when it comes to their behavior, you're providing respect to everybody and keeping that level of kindness. When I talk about respect, it's not just with their teammates and their coaches, but it's also the lift operator, it's the ski patrol, it's the food and beverage person, it's everybody around them. And that carries a lot of weight with us when we sit down with the mountain and talk about, can we get closure of this run? Can we make this happen? Can you give us these discounts? All that comes back to the way that our athletes are perceived and how they behave.
In the lift line as well, behaving appropriately. You all are wearing your team coats. We stand out like big sore thumbs. And we want to show what amazing kids we have in the program. And being appropriate in the line and on the hill and in the lodges goes a long way.
I'll echo what Troy and Allison are saying. When we sat down with the Snow Basin leadership, that is one of the things that they commented on, was how amazingly behaved our athletes were this last year. And that made them so much more willing to give things to us and to the program. So it does not go unnoticed at the very highest levels. So keep up. Thank you.
And it was mentioned earlier, and Maddie mentioned it in her little video, but taking self-responsibility, building some independence, that's a big attribute to the sport. And then being a value adder, looking for that opportunity to help others. And then recognizing that membership in our club is a privilege and can be pulled. If we have that sour apple, we have that bad problem, we want to remove that versus let that trickle in and be cancerous to our team. So Craig mentioned it, but it's empowering the athletes to correct that behavior, but it's also dealing with those in a timely manner when they come up and making sure that we're all after the greater good. A little bit more on the athlete behavior is things to avoid. It's snowballs, wrestling, king of the mountain. Those are things that happen, right? We see those all the time when kids are in snow. So if you're seeing those things, I want to empower you as the champion of our team to prevent those things. Put a stop to snowball fights, put a stop to wrestling, put a stop to King of the Mountain type activity. And there's plenty of other things to do. I love seeing the fact that kids are building jumps, or they're skiing around on one skis, or they're out there helping their little sibling do something for the first time. Like, those are the things that I want in our downtime, where these activities tend to pop up during the downtime. So if you can help me and our coaching staff put a stop to those kind of behaviors, we'll all be better because of it. What's wrong with it? Now, what expectations that Craig and I have for the staff is to lead by example, be professional, create that safe learning environment, communicate back to you as parents in a timely manner, and then be mindful of the partnerships and relationships that we have within our community. Expectations from you as parents is to make sure that your unconditional love is there regardless of the athlete's performance, that you become an integral part of the success of our team. We definitely have a culture where parents are included and invited and encouraged to take a run with us, encouraged to be at the races. Like, we want your engagement, we need your engagement to create that team environment. So please step forward in those opportunities. And then communicate back to the coach. A lot of times the coaches need, Tracy went through at the beginning of marking your availability. That's a big help to our coaching staff. The same as we're getting ready for a competition and you need a release form, Maddie will send those out. It's so helpful when you send that out and within 24 hours you got everybody back. Because what happens, obviously, if you don't have them all, then it's round two. You're making personal calls, personal emails, still waiting on this one, still waiting on that one. And so for Maddie to be best use of her time is being conscious of that and getting back to the coach in a timely manner. And then Craig mentioned it before, it's the ski racing is a long-term journey. And so recognizing that, what skills are they developing along the journey, and keeping that long-term vision. As well as being mindful of our partnerships and relationships with the community and sponsors. And this is a little diagram that we find is helpful when we're talking to coach development and the training that our coaches go through, so they're providing the right feedback. And I think it also applies to parent and athlete relationship. When is the right time to talk to your kid about their performance, about their training day? Because we can find ourselves in these scenarios where it's the wrong message but the right time. It ends up being a mistake. Could be the wrong message at the wrong time, and it's just a disaster. Nothing's getting accomplished. Kids blowing up, they're feeling too pressured. You're feeling frustrated. It could be the right message but the wrong time, and so you're getting that resistance or pushback. And what we're after is that right message at the right time. And I would say that this also goes into that relationship between parent and coach. So really seek for those right time, the right opportunity to go talk to Jay, go talk to Maddie, go talk to Allison. Like, what does that environment look like so you're getting the most out of it? Okay, Tracy covered most of this. The one thing I want to add to the comment about Team Snap is just when it comes to safe sport, our policy within our staff is that they can't communicate directly to the athlete. And that doesn't tend to happen too much at U10, 12 bracket, mainly with our 14s and older, but we want to make sure that they understand that clarity is the athlete can't communicate via chat directly with the coach. If you're using the system, using Team Snap, then parents are included in that. They can see it. And Tracy and I as administrators, we can go back through and see that conversation as well. So we're keeping athlete safety as a priority. It's when it goes outside of that, it becomes a direct text message, that it becomes a problem. Okay? So just help educate your child. I know it's on the younger end, but it's a great kind of planting the seed for what's to come in the future. And make sure that they feel safe and confident in what they're doing, and being part of our program is very important to me. And then the other things that you can find more engaging in it is posting pictures that capture our team culture, capture your children enjoying the time with their teammates, as well as having that resource to come back to find maybe some documents that you see on a regular basis so they don't get piled up in your email. You can go to Team Snap and find the schedule easy enough. Okay, just a couple more slides here, then I'll turn it over to Allison. For video, as kids get older, we really want them to have a Gmail account. I find that it can happen as young as our South Series group. And so if you're at that point, the kid has their own Gmail account, and obviously you have access to that account, but the coaches will post their videos in a Google Drive to where they can share them with the athlete, and they can start to watch their own video. We find that video analysis is a very teaching tool and very effective in their long-term development. And then as they find the clips, as you find the clips that they really enjoy, they can pull those off and save them on a different drive, because at the end of the season we'll clear that drive off, be ready for another season. There'll be certain times where the coaches will sit down in the team yurt, or especially at camps, they'll have time through the day to where they're doing video analysis with the athlete. And then volunteer needs. We mentioned a couple of the races that we're hosting. We're also hosting 2 free ride comps. And then Tracy mentioned our ski swap is the 24th, 5th, and 6th. All the advertisement says the 25th and 6th because the 24th is that secret team only day that you can come and have great buys, because a lot of it is teammate to teammate, and we all want to help each other out that way. And it's the right gear that you're looking for. And so I highly encourage everybody to come on the 24th. And then with our winter welcome, that's going to be on November 9th. You'll see more publicity and marketing about that. We really encourage, what I'm asking for you now is thinking about ways to donate, to add to our donations. There's a lot of gift baskets that go into the auction. So if you work for a different company that supports those kind of events, or if you've got connections to a local business, thinking about how they can donate something, we're talking $50, $100 to create to a gift basket that somebody will bid on and enjoy their experience at the event. So think about ways that you can contribute. Maybe you can't make it to the actual event, but you can find ways to add to the success of our program. It is one of our major fundraisers. We draw in about $30,000 from that event. And so the more that we can raise there, we keep tuition down low. I'm very happy with the fact that our tuition had very minor increases throughout the entire program. I want to keep it that way, but the only way we can keep it that way is having very successful fundraisers. The other fundraiser that's a big moneymaker for us is the Banff Film Festival. That'll be in the middle of February. And we've got some great films coming in there. Just curious, as show of hands, who attended Banff in the past? Right? Pretty cool, right? Motivates you about active outdoor lifestyle. I like it. And then a couple other ones there are our team tent, making sure that you're chipping in and helping out there. What I find works best is if somebody raises their hand and says, I'll take the tent itself, but that's my contribution. I know I got room in my vehicle, my truck, I can take the actual tent and I'll walk it up and set it up. But now this family's taking care of the food and this family's taking care of bringing the grill. What's problematic is when one family says, I'll do that, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and then they're like, yeah, this is too much, right? So just spread the workload out, think about how you can chip in, how you can be a help. The kids love the tent, really creates that team culture. I find that it's the avenue, it's the place on the mountain where you guys can get to know each other, introduce yourselves, because when there's not that central location, people just get spread out. So the team tent in our events is a big component to our team culture. Okay.
Troy, before you move on,
yep.
Is that, so our first day team swap meet, is that okay for the parents to purchase stuff down there that day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Sneak peek. First grab. And then I put event committees on there. The main thing I'm looking at there is our in-around championships that we're hosting. So to elevate that experience for the visiting athletes and for our athletes, we're going to put a little working group together. So if you're interested in helping us with that event, just reach out to me. Other things that are going on behind the scenes is we're working a lot with our alumni to try to create our mailing list with our alumni and get them connected to come back in different capacities, mainly as donors. Okay. Well, there's Dan. Right, so we got the 2034 games coming up. I put this little post out there that we're hosting those races this year. Get involved with our races because you'll get to get that experience as to what it means to be in the race environment. And that'll just set you up for success to help out during the Olympics. And lastly, thanking our sponsors. The big one there up top, Atomic. Couldn't do it without the support from Atomic. They're not only giving us extremely good buys on the equipment for the athletes, but they're also a huge donor into our winter welcome, giving us like 6 pairs of skis to auction off at no cost. They're helping out some of our coaching staff. They help out with our races. They sponsor our team jackets, and so they're a huge contributor. I know you guys, a lot of you in the room enjoy the product, that recognize that. And one thing I would ask is that if your athlete stands on the podium, that they take that Atomic ski up and you take pictures, you share your pictures on social media. If your kid's skiing on Atomic, tag Atomic within your post. It really helps that and helps our connection with Atomic. So. Okay, with that, I'll turn it over to Allison to talk a little bit about the packet that Maddie's put together for you.
So, are there any South Series specific parents that didn't get one of these? Okay. Maddie briefly reviewed it with you in her little video. I read through this, use it as a resource for yourself. We revamped it again this year, trying to remind you of updates, where things are. I do know that we didn't have when this was printed, we didn't have the Sun Valley camp dates, but you have that in your schedules now. As a list of the races. Really important, if you go to the page, the South Series expectation page, I'd really appreciate it if you sit down with your child, read through these, talk about the expectations, make sure that they understand what those expectations mean. We really want ski racing to be enjoyable, life-altering, because it is life-altering. Yeah, Scotty, me, I think Troy, Craig, my daughters. It is an amazing, life-altering sport. Not only is it a team sport because we're together, we're on the list, we're talking, but it's also an individual sport, which is very unique. And the life lessons that the kids learn, it's not all about skiing, it's a lot about life. One instance is my oldest daughter skied through the snow basin program through her sophomore year in high school. Unfortunately, at that time, there was a limited number of kids at the highest level. I come from the East Coast. I went to a ski academy. I competed all through college. I raced on the pro tour. I've been coaching for 34 years. I've run my own program. But she came to me one day. She said, "Mom, I really want to go to the ski academy." I said, "Oh, well, you better get a good scholarship because I can't afford it." But she took it upon herself to look up all the information she needed to do, to contact them personally, not me. She even came to me, she goes, "Can I have your credit card so I can book my plane ticket to go back for my interview?" But she took it upon herself to do absolutely everything in that because it was something she wanted so badly. But she had learned about that previously, time management, what it takes, and she really wanted something, okay? And it's great. No, you pack your own bags. You take your responsibility for herself. She did get that good scholarship. It helped a little bit that the headmaster at the time was also my former coach, but she met with 5 different coaches. They talked about her goals. They watched her ski. They did all this amazing stuff with her. And they said, we will give her, because she is the only kid she was there on her own. My mom picked her up at the airport, dropped her off at the place. That was about it. She was on her own. She was there, confident, ready to talk with them, ready to talk with those adults, be out. That's what we're looking to do for all of your kids. Okay? She had a great couple years, and actually she is back there coaching right now. She's coaching at the FIS level. She's working with the older kids. She's absolutely loving it, and they love her. But going back to that, when she graduated from there, every athlete or every student that graduates gives a speech at their graduation. And it's not just the valedictorian. Everybody gives a speech. Out of her class of 20, there was 30 in her class. 3 kids talked about their ski racing results. Had nothing, their experiences, even though they were top-notch racers, their experiences were not, what they were talking about was not about the results, that they won this race or they went this place or they went. It was the lifetime skills that they learned, the time management, the friends, the overall experience. And that's what we are really here for. Skiing's the bonus, and the racing is the bonus. So and I know it's super expensive. I'm going to be working the rest of my life to pay off my kids' everything. When you think about it, if your kid's really enjoying it and you're questioning whether it's really worth that money that you're spending and those sacrifices that you're making, do think about the overall life experience that your kids are going to get and the benefits that they're going to get from it. There's very few people that I've talked to, and I've been doing this for a long time, that regret the time and the effort that they spent with their kids in this sport. So, and that's where my passion comes from. I'm like still doing this. I teach school. I'm a 4th grade teacher. So in the winter I pretty much work 7 days a week. I'll try not to get too cranky. And then lastly, so there, the team expectations go over also the code of conduct. We did start this last year. We were having a few issues early on. We really wanted to eliminate them so that everybody was feeling comfortable and confident. We had kids, we had a few issues. You can't ride up the chairlift with me, or you don't have to be best friends, but our goal is you treat everybody like a teammate. So please go through the code of conduct with your kids. And then there is a place to see for you and your athlete to sign it, saying that you've read it, they understand what the expectations are, because there are some consequences for it being broken. And depending on the severity of what has happened, we may not go through all the steps. We may jump from here to the final one. And lastly, there is the paper for season goals. So again, sit down with your athletes. There's some examples of long-term goals, short-term goals. Talk with your athlete about what their goals are, being realistic about those goals. And as we've said we will be going, Maddie said in her video, we'll be going through these with the kids. At the beginning when they give them to us, in the middle of the year, just check in, see how things go. And then again at the end to see where they come out. And then lastly, of course, there is the list that should be hung wherever your child keeps their ski equipment at the end of every day. Please make sure they're drying out their gloves. It's really beneficial if they have a pair of gloves and a pair of mittens or two pairs of something in their bag every day. We have some really wet days, man, and they have a hard time making it through the afternoon with cold, wet hands. So just, and really get your athlete to start paying attention, making sure their boots are dry, making sure they have all their equipment and their gloves, and packing up their own. That's another one of the life lessons, is to really start to do this on their own. It will take a lot of weight off of you too, okay? So, any questions that I can answer specifically that anybody has? No questions? Well, we must have done a pretty good job, you guys.
One comment, Tracy did a great job putting together a newsletter. In that newsletter, there is an article by Jim Taylor that has the SMART goals, so you can read the full article there. And also there's a nice video that Dan sent me on ski conditioning. Take a look at that too. It's a 45-minute, slightly different, just body weight, but very effective. Take a look at both those links in the newsletter.
If you didn't get the newsletter for some reason, just let me know, and I'll make sure that I'll forward it and make sure that you're getting all the communication.
Great. Thanks, Allison. Thanks, Craig. Jay, you want to say a few words about the AMR program?
You bet. Hi, I'm Jay Sawyer. I grew up ski racing, like most of the coaches here. Raced through college, University of Wyoming, for a couple of years there. Didn't get along with the coach, and that kind of ended my career. Then I came back home and started instructing. I actually ended up with what's now a level 3 PSIA instructor in 2 years. I've lived and skied a lot of different areas. Taught at Bridger Bowl, Montana. Did most of my skiing for Idaho Falls ski team. We were out of Kelly Canyon. We put in our own rope tow lift, so we could go up and as I was nodding, Troy was saying nodding, when I was nodding about skiing at the UOP, sort of the same situation. We could go up, turn on the lights, turn on the lift, and in an hour, we could run 150 gates. And the hill would be closed sometimes, and we'd go up, do some powder skiing, like Troy said, turn on the light and do some powder skiing, head back home. Pretty close to where I grew up, so it was fun. But UOP, an awesome resource, a little bit of a drive time. Might be able to take advantage of that, doing some homework or some other listening, maybe activities or something. But the advantage of the UOP is that up-down, quick turn time, so that the time you're there, other than travel time, is super beneficial for the amount of up and down you get through whatever we're working on. As far as AMR, again, my focus is, as a lot of the coaches have said, to develop skiers, athletes for life. Ski to me is like tennis or golf. You can do it forever. Swimming is another one that you can do forever. I have 2 kids, both of them still ski. My son is coaching now after he went through the program. They both stopped, and my daughter stopped a little sooner. I think she was not quite, and she was still in junior high. My son went through his sophomore year, still played other was athletically involved in other things, but stopped ski racing at that point. And that's at least where I would encourage athletes to ski, because like I said, at that point, the skill development is at such that they can go do whatever they want in the sport from there on. Again, ski racing to me is the fundamental for whether you're going free ride or whatever. That fundamental of technical learning is going to be beneficial in whatever. As I look at free riders, the good guys are technically sound skiers. That's what makes the difference in their ability to get down the scraggly, scary stuff, is their technical ability.
So, like I said, I'm through and through ski racer. Oh, a little bit about the swap coming up, especially for AMR people. New equipment, great chance to get things at this age. Again, kids, if you get 2 years out of equipment, you're doing awesome. A lot of times you get a growth spurt. Like 1 year, my son grew 7.5 inches in 1 year when he was just coming into high school, so you've got that to look forward to, some of you. So obviously halfway through the year, we had to replace equipment. But as you're coming up, used equipment, like I say, most of the time the used equipment is going to be a year old or used by several athletes, and it maybe has 2 years or 3 seasons at most of use on it. So it's still virtually brand new at a super economical price. So AMR athletes, please look at getting equipment. That's where you're going to want to look at getting your shin guards, pole guards, like I was talking earlier, straight poles for slalom that will have a pole guard on them, and then bendy poles that we'll use for free skiing just because it's a pain in the neck to take the pole guards on and off. You can't ski GS races with slalom pole guards. So good chance to get equipment. Speed suits is another one for young athletes. South Series athletes, same thing. Again, they start out coming in from YSL or AMR into the South Series. Speed suit they wore as their first year South Series, they outgrow it. Hey, AMR kids can buy that South Series. The second year South Series kids going into the U14 series, their speed suits don't fit anymore. Now it's time to pass those down to the younger athletes. Like I say, speed suits, guys probably at 6, 7, maybe even as seen speed suits as 10 years old. They're still in awesome shape still. I mean, you're getting them for $50. What are new ones now? $300-400 bucks.
It depends on which one, yeah, especially for the fish that they have to be.
So starting at $300-400 bucks and up to probably $1,000 if you're getting fancy on it.
While you throw in that. And I'm just going to interrupt Jay for a minute. Ski boots, your kids' feet are growing constantly. So periodically, every couple weeks, have your kid try on their ski boots, make sure they still fit, so that when we actually do get on the snow, their ski boots fit. Because I've seen where they bought them in September, and by the time they go to put them on in December, they've already grown out of their boots. So just keep an eye on that.
And if they're brand new, have them wear them around the house and break them in.
Yes.
Yeah, break them in. And with that too, again, as Allison was saying, a lot of times the foot will change a little bit. The boot size is still all right, but they may need to be punched out or ground out in places to get them so that they actually fit without being painful. Or instead of buying a new pair, you could have them punched out, or the big toes grown big, so you can grind out a little bit bigger space in the big toe area rather than buying a new set of boots. So the boot fitting, there are several resources that we have available. Contact us and we can get that to you. But make sure the boots are fitting. Again, huge difference. I've always had to. I've got a duck foot, basically. Got a 9.5 4E foot. So I've always had to do work on my boots. But be aware of that. Pressure points and stuff can be eliminated. I've got the bone spurs to prove that it should have been done and isn't. So Troy or anybody in our age range before boot fitting really became a science rather than just a hobby. But now it's a very viable and reasonably economical way to keep longevity and keep your feet healthy. Any questions as far as, well, I want to go back a little bit. Again, as I was saying, to me, AMR, my idea at the end of the year is you should be able to ask any AMR athlete or last year's YSL athletes, did you have fun? And they should say yes. Maybe not every day. We're going to do things that aren't fun. And I'm not an easy coach. I make them work hard. And so you athletes in the AMR program will improve their skiing. And I want to encourage that to look at every athlete is individual, and what I look at is where they start and where they end up with. They may not be winning on the podium, but I guarantee that athlete is going to improve in their ability and their enjoyment in their work ethic as far as how they approach and want to improve their skiing. I guarantee that AMR athletes at the end of the season will have a different attitude than when they come in. Like I said, the improvement is the issue to me. As Troy was saying, be supportive parents, be encouraging that way. Look where you're starting, look where you are now, look where you end up at the end of the year. That's what makes the difference, because there's only 3 spots. Again, at the YSL level, top 10, which is easier to get into, but the higher you go, the tougher it is to get on the podium. Once, and I think the numbers are probably still pretty close, the U.S. ski team has the equivalent of 1 NBA basketball team of athletes. So to be able to get to that point is, you've got to be phenomenal. Not only a professional athlete, but an elite professional athlete. If you look at how many NBA players, basketball players there are in the country versus U.S. ski team athletes. So a reasonable expectation is not to make it to the Olympics, right? That's pretty slim chances. But the ability to be a skier for life is a much more expectation that I work towards. So, let's see. Again, ski swap, finals. Finals, as far as with the AMR, the finals are a really fun race for us because, as Troy said, that top tier, which usually, not always, but a good majority of them are moving up out of the YSL or out of the South Series. So as the AMR athletes come in, it's a really good chance not only to intermingle with our own South Series athletes, on a true interaction. We've got a couple of those through the year, but it's gives them a chance to see what the competition is. And like I said, the majority of that competition is going to be exactly what those new South Series past AMR athletes are going to experience in the next year. So it's kind of dabbling the toe in the water for the next year. Gives them an experience of what the South Series is going to be like for the coming year. So, any questions for me on here quick? Okay, again, I encourage not only for AMR athletes to get equipment, pole guard, chin guards. Chin guard usually comes with the helmet. Down to suit possibility. Not needed, but recommended. The other thing to look at are zip-off ski pants. Again, warm-ups are outgrown very quickly, but to take advantage of a speed suit or whatever, the zip-off pants, if you've got a speed suit, you want to be able to stay warm, but then you got to be able to strip down without taking your ski boots off in the snow and taking your warm-up pants off. So zip pants are a must, and again, those could be purchased at the swap economically. So not only for AMRs to look at getting new equipment, but encouraging older athletes to get rid of their equipment, a good chance to get rid of your equipment too without having to just throw it away or whatever. You get a few bucks out of it still to keep it useful. So other than that, I'm looking forward to another great season. Like a lot of us, we've been doing it for a while, so it's always super fun for me. And Allison, like she said, she works 7. I think I end up working about 7 too, taking time off of regular work so I can go ski. So, but it's fun for me. I always have a great time. So, look forward to working with your new young athletes.
Thanks, Jay. So I was thinking there, this marks year 22 that Jay and I have been working with each other, and I'll attest to it, the exponential growth that happens in that phase of development happens because of Jay and the co-workers that he works with. So thanks, Jay. The other thing that I have is the fact that with the ski swap coming up around the corner, fall camp's coming up, we're continuing with dry land. The weather's going to turn on us, and we hope so. Like, this is an unbelievable day today. Coach Scotty, Craig, and I, and Coach Hallie were up fixing some of our B-net, the safety netting. So we're rolling that out in the Wildcat lot. It's cool to see what's going on up there. They're building the new base for the Becker chairlift that'll get installed next year. And a lot of that preliminary work, the electrical work that goes underneath it, the footprint, they're kind of revamping where you're going to get on the Wildcat chairlift and access to how you ski down Little Cat. All that's starting to change. You'll see that over the next couple of years. And then what's exciting for us is the plan for the Olympics is to cut a new trail for the GS. track, which would come down the ridge of Wildcat and down the run called Beck's. Then the base of the Porky Lift would be gone, and then it would tie into the Olympic downhill there and finish down by our Team Europe down in the finish arena where the Olympic downhill course would finish. So lots of new activity going on in the resort. We're happy to be part of it. The one exciting news that I want to end on, and you'll see more about this in the coming months, but as Tracy and I sat down with the general manager and leadership team there at Snow Basin, I asked if they would donate 20 of the chairlifts from Becker so that we could auction them off and raise some money. They said, yeah, we could do that. And then he just kind of paused, and I started moving on because I was like, cool, we got the yes. Awesome.
I said,
and he
maybe ask for 10, and Troy was like, I'm gonna ask for 20. I was like, you can do it.
And we had a little chat on the drive up there. But he said yes to 20, right? And then he kind of paused, and I moved on quickly thinking that he was gonna change his mind. But then he paused, he stopped me, and he said, how about I give you every chair? And so we're talking 180 chairs. It'll draw in about $500 a chair. So you're talking some pretty serious coin for our club. It's going to take a lot of work, and that's why he pondered it. He's like, wait a minute, like I can move this workload off my plate, not yours. Now I'm intrigued. But for us, it's going to be the largest fundraiser of the year. It's going to take a lot of work, as I mentioned, but the support from the resort couldn't be any better. And when I mentioned the cut of the new GS trail, they envision that to be our home training environment. And so as we're trying to get a quicker lap time, we're trying to get steeper terrain, we're trying to get on harder snow so that the athlete development doesn't peak out at the age of 13, 14 in Snow Basin, that we can push that envelope into college years. Like, we need that training environment, and they're ready to support us, and they see that vision coming about over the next 5 to 10 years. So it's cool to have those conversations. Those things take time. We're patient, just like we've talked about earlier tonight about ski racing's a journey. Also, is running a ski resort and a program and everything else, right? We're very grateful for what we've been given and supported by our community, by our resort. We're thankful for you to be part of it, and we're very proud of the program that we have. So with that, I just want to end the evening and say thanks for coming. But what I find in these meetings is a lot of questions take place the next day. Don't hesitate to reach out. Tracy and I and Craig, as well as your direct coaches, like, this is a pinnacle time of the year to answer those questions, get those questions asked to where you're going into the season feeling success, prepared, and that your athlete is excited for what's to come. So please use us. We're here to support you.
Will this slide deck be available online?
Yep, so I'll email it out to everybody so they can go through it with your spouses or anybody else that wasn't here. Again, make sure everybody's on the same page, as well as the schedule. We'll have things loaded in Team Snap and get that going.
The South Series is still not loaded. The training days?
Yep. We'll get that in there.
The one of the schedules, I think we maybe ran out of it, but I'll be sending it out. This one here, the horizontal format, is the entire year's plan. So it's not loaded into Team Snap yet, but that's the, as we see it.
Okay, is that an extra copy?
Scotty's giving up things. Thank you. But I will send all of this out via Team Snap and email. There's one other portion of Team Snap that you may not realize is there, but it under the messaging, you have chats, you have emails, and you have posts. We've never really used the post feature in the past, but I'm going to experiment a little bit with that this year, because normally I would send something like this out via email, right, which I'll still do. But what I'll probably also do is post links to the different things so that you don't have to go back through email to find it. You can just go to that post section, and things that you might want to re-reference over the course of the season, I'll kind of put in there. But give me feedback as to whether or not you find that's beneficial, what we're going to try it this year.
Great. Again, you guys, thanks for spending the night with us. Hopefully that was helpful, and we'll move on for another successful year. Thank you.